on a night where they were challenged by an underdog and undermanned Collingwood. Sydney comes from 33 points down.
G'day guys, Nate here coming at you with the round 10 review of Collingwood's 6-point loss to Sydney Friday night at the SCG. Collingwood 10-15-75, inaccurate yet again. To Sydney 11-15-81, inaccurate again. It's a 6-point loss again on the road, again to a top side, again on a Friday night. Again, mixture of emotions from me in this one. I'm proud, I'm also flat, disappointed, frustrated at times, but I didn't expect us to put up not much of a fight. I expect the effort and the bounce back, sure. I didn't expect us to lead for the majority of this game, to be 5 goals up halfway through the second quarter, to lose this game by 6 points. I'd take that any day of the week. So fair play to Collingwood. I wouldn't say I was wrong, but thankfully there was a slimmer of hope and we almost capitalised on that. 4 changes, experience out. The first point of mention here is Scott Pendlebury. And I'm going to say this. If the first thing that came to your mind was we should not have dropped Scott Pendlebury for this, I don't think you're saying this in good faith. I think you're being disingenuous when it comes to that. If you watched that game of footy, 4 quarters, it was a scrappy contest, wet weather stuff, Sydney doing Sydney things, yada, yada, yada. But if the first thing that came to your mind out of this game, the first talking point is Scott Pendlebury should have played this game and we've pissed premiership points down the drain, then I'm sorry, I'm not going to engage with you. You can leave your comments down below, that's perfectly fine. But online, I'm talking about opposition fans and the online discourse and whatnot. I don't think you guys care. The opposition fans, I don't think you care. If we get to round 22, when we play Hawthorn and then Brisbane, the last 2 games, if we haven't cemented a top 10 spot by then yes, in hindsight, you can look back on this and say, well, you should not have dropped Scott Pendlebury. But I think we have a lot more issues. Similar to last week where opposition fans, Geelong fans, were booing Nick Dacos, and I said we have a lot more issues than opposition fans booing Nick Dacos. Dropping, no way. He picks himself, Pendlebury, but managing Pendlebury during this period where he's about to break the VFL AFL games record, coming out of this game, we have a lot more issues to worry about than dropping Pendlebury and experience out the door sort of thing. This game showed teething problems with our youngsters, 8 players under 20 games, so young and old, experienced, skillful players, elite players at times, and just everything few and far between. So that mixture, it wasn't going to gel, particularly on a Friday night at the SCG against one of, if not the best sides in the competition. So to take it to the best team in the competition, the team that regularly scores above 100, the best team in the competition for points for, the second best team in the competition for points against, we controlled the corridor very well. We didn't allow quick transition for the first half. Their 3 goals in the first half, they had to earn those 3 goals, and that third goal was in red time as well. So the fact that we almost kept Sydney to below 20 by half time, it says a lot. It should be praised to Collingwood for that, but no, instead people are talking about how we should not have managed Scott Pendlebury during this time. I just think it's also bad luck regarding it as well. I don't think we expected Hawthorn, Geelong, Sydney to be in the top 6. I didn't expect us to get walloped by Geelong of those 3 teams and take it to Hawthorn and Sydney. But here we are now, those 3 games, we don't have a win to show for it. Same with the VFL. So we haven't won a game since Anzac Day, so we're going to approach 28 days without a win. 29 days if you include the VFL. So it's a bit of a dry spell. It's starting to tick me off a bit. I get the efforts and also the frustration, the pride and everything involved, not just for myself, but for all Collingwood fans. But again, there's a lot more issues than just managing Pendlebury, all right? Darcy Moore comes back in. We don't know what we're going to utilise him as. He should be a key defender for sure, but he's honestly out of form. He hasn't had a good run of it so far in 2026. The big talking point for me, and no pun intended regarding the big talking point, was Oscar Steen and his knee injury. Most likely a confirmed ACL. He's going to be out for the rest of the year, most likely. So that now frees up 2 mid-season spots for us to utilise mid-season picks. Bryn Teakle looks the obvious option for bringing in. I'm sure there's a few VFL options right now, and also in the Waffle and Sandful and whatever. Tom Campbell just retired. All eyes on him maybe, but that's a genuine short-term option only. Darcy Cameron, hopefully he returns next week. Otherwise, yeah, we are stretched for ruck options. Smith is the only other ruck option we genuinely have. Otherwise, we are just throwing shit against the wall, moving the magnets, and then we're looking at guys like Buller, McStay, Frampton, Moore as possible ruck options. And if you looked at Jack Buller in the ruck, he's not a ruck. McStay, I'd rather just keep him as a key forward only, and I'd rather just keep Frampton and Darcy Moore as key defenders only. Maybe you switch them up forward, sort of thing. But the ruck, it's not just, oh, you put one random player in and you forget about it. Right, this is not 2017. You can't put someone like Sean Grigg in the ruck and make a mockery of it. There's a science to the ruck, all right? So we can't just put a random person in there and hope for the best. Ned Long, it, God bless him, he tried his ass off against Brodie Grundy in the ruck. Buller, McStay, it was a group trying. Brodie Grundy best on ground for obvious reasons. We're not paying Brodie Grundy anymore, and he took that personally. So I just hope Sydney's paying or making up for any lost wages that we're no longer paying Brodie Grundy for Pendlebury. Well, we're not paying Pendlebury anything. He's earning that himself through memorabilia. But Grundy, yeah, there was no surprise. And that's the thing with this game as well. We expected Brodie Grundy to not be gentle in the ruck, clear as day here. Nick Blakey doing whatever he wanted across half back, but there was not many lizard runs. There was 11 bounces for Sydney players here. We didn't bounce the ball at all, but I didn't see much impact for Nick Blakey across half back, that dazzling run, but he was one of, if not the best players on ground behind Brodie Grundy. Nick Dacos got one vote. There was a voting panel for this game. Brodie Grundy got 3 votes, Nick Blakey got 2, and Nick Dacos got 1. Brodie Grundy was a clear standout. Isaac Heaney, 32 disposals. McInerney, one of, if not the most improved players in the competition. So Sydney, their firepower was there, and that bloody Sydney surge. It wasn't as efficient. It wasn't as lethal or potent or damaging compared to other times they've had that Sydney surge. When I talk about a Sydney surge, I'm talking 5, 6, 7, 8 goals in a 15, 20, 25, 30-minute or a quarter span, and the game is over. Sydney, they had that surge in this game. They led at three-quarter time. And I thought they were going to run away with this in the final quarter. But for us to hang on, to force it to the final minutes, and the last 20 seconds, Dan Houston could have gone forward. I'm going to assume there was no one forward. So for him to zigzag and try and look backwards to handball it and get tackled for it, today, Junior, tackled. That holding the ball decision for Dan Houston, that symbolised his game against Sydney. Multiple attempts and efforts in that third quarter where he didn't commit himself to the contest, and it led to Sydney goals. Fumbly at the most critical times, inefficient at the most critical times. Just a genuine WTF sort of performance for Dan Houston. He's had a better season here compared to last year, but it sticks out like a sore thumb in a 6-point loss. We've got teething problems with the youngsters. I'm all for playing the kids, absolutely. We've got certain players who are not bottom 6, but they're not top 6 players. They're having, serviceable, decent games, but they're not having impacts on the game. So that's what we need. We need that underbelly of players that can stand up in big moments to win us games, and we don't have that right now. This is like the Mandela Effect, but this time it's actually in effect. 2022, 2023, 2024, those close wins. We were the kings of the close finish, the comeback kings. And here we are now where we can't beat Freo leading for the majority of the game. We can't beat Hawthorn leading for the majority of the game. We can't beat Sydney leading for the majority of the game. We almost blew away 2 premiership points against Carlton. Thankfully, that set shot was a behind. But yeah, all these close games and our composure is lacking. I don't know if it's experience or we put all our eggs into the 2022, 2023, 2024 basket, and we're suffering the consequences now of these close games where we just can't finish the game. We can't hold on to a lead. Just getting into the stats for this game, minus 28 in disposals, minus 15 for contested possessions. The hitouts, they stand out for an obvious reason because of Brodie Grundy, 52-10. 1 hit out after halftime. Oscar Steen was serviceable at times up until that knee injury. But Jack Buller, he's just not a pinch hitting ruck. He just doesn't have the frame for it. He doesn't have the skills for it. It's a science, that ruck rolls, and he needs a full preseason to learn it. You can't just throw a random name in there and hope for the best. I know in a circumstance like this with Oscar Steen going down, we need to fill the void. I get that. But we need to prepare for this next week and not take West Coast lightly. We can't afford to take it lightly against Bulldogs, clearly, and definitely against Melbourne. Oh, God help us in the ruck. Clearances, we lost the clearances in the end, but we did match it for the majority of the game. -3, -1% of clearances, -2 for stoppage clearances, +18 in tackles. You can never fault Collingwood's effort for most of the time with tackling and minus 15 for inside 50s, 71 to 56 in Sydney's favour. So to keep Sydney to 11 goals 15, 26 scoring shots from 71 entries. Third quarter, 25 to 8, so minus 17. And 6 goals, 6 in that third quarter for Sydney to our 2 goals, 3. We had a good first quarter. Sydney had a great third quarter. And that's the difference between the good sides and the great teams. Good sides and the great sides. Why did I contradict myself? Good sides, great teams. Good teams, great sides. What the fuck? The efficiency and goal efficiency for the game was in Collingwood's favour, plus 5.9% for us, even though it's still under 50%. So it's always going to be an area of improvement for us, unfortunately. So up against the top sides, that needs to be above 50%. And the goal efficiency, 17% to 15%. By Sydney standards, this was an off day for them. So to scrape out a win, great teams find a way. And Sydney is a great side, and a great side won this game, unfortunately. The bizarro stat for this one, minus 23 in marks. Now, it was greasy, it was wet for half of this game, but minus 23, just 66 marks for us. We just lacked that composure. We didn't control the footy at certain times, and we just can't hold on to leads in final quarters anymore, which is just, it's a shit feeling, man. And this is where, like, the mixture of emotions. Yes, I'm proud, but I'm also frustrated, disappointed, flat. And it's not because it's a full trip around the sun for me, because this time last year I'd be up and about. But this, I was almost like resigned to the fact that, yeah, Sydney's in front, they're going to win the game, sort of thing. I was expecting Sydney to wipe the floor with us in the final quarter, for us to hang on and force it to the final 2 minutes, red time, sort of thing. Nearly forced a draw. Definitely proud of that, but I'm also just flat in just not our efforts, but like just bombing it long in the final quarter and just being very slow and plodding, almost like we'll get them out the back door, sort of thing. And while I've got the team stats up, I will mention some players. I was going to do a player stat analysis, but I'll just mention it verbally. Nick Dacos, 27 disposals, 2 goals, but only 2 clearances. I said this on mixed stream last night or early morning, just after midnight, where regarding using Nick Dacos in the middle, it was almost like we were waiting for a goal to occur, and then we'll move Nick Dacos into the centre ball ups and just get him back into the midfield. But the problem was we had multiple passages of play where we went like 10 plus minutes without a goal, and Nick Dacos was just resting up forward. So unless there's something there with Nick Dacos, I thought the utilisation of Nick Dacos in the midfield was definitely a missed opportunity. Again, issues regarding this game, not just managing Scott Pendlebury, all right? We've got injuries galore right now, not utilising Nick Dacos for more midfield minutes. That's another factor. Jordan De Goey, 29 disposals, 6 clearances, 7 score involvements. A massive first quarter yet again. That's Jordan De Goey's bread and butter right now. I'll take that if it leads to nearly 30 disposals a game. He's having a good run the last 3 games, so I'm happy for him. I'm glad as well. And I'm just hoping Jordan De Goey doesn't drop off after this. Just maintain that form. Crisp, 18 disposals, 13 of those contested, 7 tackles. And Pies Footy, he brought this up as well, where Jack Crisp, he's missing those set shots at critical moments. He's only kicked 99 goals in his career. He looks like the sort of player that's kicked more goals than that, like 200 goals in his career. So to be stuck on 99 goals for his career, as he's about to play 270 odd games or 270 plus games, it's a goal every 3 games pretty much. I expected more for that sort of ratio. And I'll just briefly mention other players. Ed Allen was serviceable, 17 disposals, 8 of those contested, 5 clearances, 6 tackles, doing things in the AFL. He wasn't doing the VFL, and for good reasons as well. I'll mention that. Who knew? Putting Ed Allen in the midfield, he plays like a midfielder. There you go. And just brief mentions for other players. Anderson, 17 disposals and a goal. Long, 15 disposals and a goal. I'm not ranking these players, I'm just mentioning them briefly. Side bottom, 16 disposals. Roan Steele, 19 disposals. Bone McCreary, 12 disposals. Again, Bone McCreary, what's his role? Is he a midfielder? Is he a forward? And these sort of stats, Anderson, 17 disposals. Decent game. Side bottom, 16. Roan Steele, 19. Long, 15. McCreary, 12. And Chris Burnett Allen, 18 and 17 disposals each. Where's that midfielder sort of thing, that third midfielder that's going to average 20, 25 disposals? It can't be Crisp. He's that outside player, serviceable for us in the long run. I get it, but who's going to be the Robin to Nick Dacos's Batman? And it can't be just Josh Dacos. I don't trust him in the midfield anymore. I'd rather him on the wing, but I don't know why we're not doing that move. And then you got the back line in Quaynor, 22 disposals, Howe, 24 disposals, 22 kicks. Maynard, 18 disposals. Josh Dacos, 21 disposals. Houston, 17. I think Frampton had 12 or 13 disposals. He kept Charlie Curnow very quiet, even though he was gifted a few goals through free kicks. And that fucking mark, that was not a mark. Amadi couldn't get involved in the game. McDonald had limited minutes, but 2 goals. That was another factor there. So yeah, absolutely disappointing. We couldn't hold on yet again for the majority of the game. We lose this game from 5 goals up. The second quarter as well. I haven't even talked about that. 1 goal 7 to 2 goals 2. See, if 7 goals 1, 8 scoring shots. If that's 4 goals 4, we're what, 9 goals 6 at halftime. We're up by 5 plus goals. And you'd think surely the game's half won. And I know we're not holding on to leads, but 5 plus goals up instead of 20 points at halftime. This was the first time since Queen's or King's birthday. I'm still interchanging those in pretense, but 2017 against Melbourne was the last time we've lost a game having led by 20 plus points at halftime. And this was the biggest halftime lead to go on to lose the game while under Craig McRae. The previous one was 13 in the prelim final against Brisbane. So yeah, we can't hold on to leads, go into quarter time, half time, looking solid, having a lead, and we can't hold on to it. But to wrap this video up, it's sort of an incoherent review, but I am proud of Collingwood's efforts. We have a lot more issues than just managing Pendlebury during this time. Injuries, youngsters, teething problems, decision making in final quarters, players not owning the moments, moving the magnets, tactics at times. Yeah, I know Pendlebury being managed is one of those tactics, but we'll look at this in mid to late August, where if we miss out on a top 10 spot or top 6 because of these 3 games without a win, then okay, we'll look back on that and go, yeah, fair enough. But that's in hindsight. I don't think it's a genuine argument, but that's just saying that on a Saturday morning. If you've got a genuine argument for it, leave your comments down below. I will accept it. I'll disagree with it most likely, but a rational discussion, I'm all for it. That's fair enough. I had no mates mention this as well. No one's even brought this up. So to see that online, that tells me these people are being disingenuous. Kane Corns, when I look at the AFL website, the first up segment, and Kane Corns is talking about how we gave up our season. There's 14 games to go. We have a solid run after this round. We got West Coast next week, Pendlebury celebration. Surely we win that. I know that's a danger game technically, but surely we win that game. 5 wins, 5 losses, and a draw. The Bulldogs at Marvel, tough assignment. Melbourne, they're up and about. King's birthday, bye. And then Port Adelaide and Richmond, the MCG. So 5 wins in a row, that's not out of the realm of possibility, but I expect at the bare minimum 3 wins. And 3 wins would keep us in that 7 to 10 range. 4 wins gets us in that top 8 spot, 6 to 8 spot. 5 wins in a row, we could sneak into the top 6 based on other results, but then we need to take a top 6 scalp. We need that big win, that big fish. The result here, again, proud, but also frustrated and disappointed and everything in between. But I'll leave you guys all to it. Leave your thoughts down below on the game. Maybe the management of Pendlebury as well. Rational discussions, fair enough. Other things you want to talk about from this game, the VFL as well. There's no VFL report, so talk about the VFL if you want. Swadling was a star. We'll have to watch the full replay today, but we lost the VFL as well. So that's 3 games in a row without a win, AFL, VFL. So yeah, the dry spell's there. We need to win next week, AFL at the very least. Hollywood takes on Werribee next week. The Pies VFLW season starts today. We're in Box Hill for that. No videos from me for the rest of the weekend. So the next 2, maybe 3 videos will be on Scott Pendlebury. And then we'll preview the West Coast game, team selections, final word video, and then we'll talk about West Coast next week. But that's for next week. But anyway, I'll leave you guys all to it. I hope you guys have a good weekend. Please be well. Please be safe. And I'll see you guys most likely on Monday. Up the Pies.